Probably the thing that impressed us most about Sammy's approach to the maintenance work effectiveness was the fact that they came in and the gap assessment process looked at barriers to people doing work. If we went back 10 years in time, when we talked about maintenance work effectiveness, it was all about how do you get people to work in the field, late start, early quit, long lunches, that type of focus. They brought a whole new focus to us in terms of people want to work, and the reason they're not working is because there's a management barrier in place. That was a very refreshing concept. I think we probably knew that ourselves and we dealt with it, but it really put it out on the table to say, you're preventing people from working as a management team. Your systems that you have in place are what stops people from working and being effective in the field. So you have to fix your work processes. That was probably the single most effective item that Sammy brought to the table during the initial assessment, that we realized we really had to go back. And although our work processes met all of our internal standards and all of our reliability and maintenance standards, they weren't enabling people in the field. Sammy's change management methods were different than what we'd tried before. Usually we would do a gap assessment, benchmark ourselves, and have reliability engineers, first line supers, or even management team say, here's what we're going to change to close this gap. And we would detail out a 10-step process, and we would check all 10 steps, and then we'd say, of course, the gap must be closed. Typically it did not, or it didn't have the impact we thought it would have. What Sammy brought to the table was an integrated team, both reliability engineers, but also the wage workforce in the plant. That was probably the first time we'd engaged the wage workforce in 5 or 6 years of R&M improvement work, where they had a direct say and could bring to the table, here's the things that we see that are not working well in the field. So from a paper exercise, somebody like myself would say, yep, planning and scheduling looks like it's working well, but it was really how did it impact the craftsmen at 9 o'clock on Monday morning that we were missing. Sammy drove that home, that that's where the rubber hits the road, and you have to get that input and that feedback before your process is going to work or before your process can be changed and modified to improve it. When Sammy came to the plant within the first 2 months, I was able to be exposed to people that had worked in the maintenance mechanical world for 30, 40 years, and several of them. From a personal perspective, I was able to see and interact with senior maintenance managers that had experience in both the power industry, the nuclear industry, as well as the refining and chemical plant industry and production. And I was able to start that type of interaction in terms of what do you need to do from a field execution perspective to be effective. Absolutely, I would work with Sammy again in the future. I would love to be able to do phase 2 right now with them. But as a small site, with the resources we have here and some other priorities that are going on, I keep having to delay that. If I had my way, I would have done it a year ago. But I have no doubt that at some point in the future we will be coming back with a stage 2 and eventually following up with a stage 3. So.